With the amount of competition coming out of Europe, I say it's time that the American car brands decide to lock in. And I say they do that by focusing on rebranding their halo cars within their lineups. Taking a look at the main three American car brands, Chevy's the only one really carrying America on its back. Now this might be a hot take, but I'd say that the Corvette is a top 3 halo car of all time, especially within the modern era. Just taking a look at its influence, longevity, and performance, the Corvette has consistently surpassed all of its limits. The Corvette has had so many iconic generations, but the biggest transition is obviously from the C7 to the C8 Corvette. You went from a rear-wheel drive front-mounted engine to a mid-engine all-wheel drive car. This is one of the biggest risks that Chevy has ever taken, but I think it played out for the best. Now initially when these cars came out, I'd say it was the G80 before the G80. This was by far the biggest LARP car you could have ever bought at that time. Especially with the production shutdown during 2020, the C8 Corvette became that much more rare. I mean, they basically made the C8 Corvette the poor man's Ferrari. And I think that if both Ford and Dodge followed in Chevy's footsteps, we'd see an American revolution within the car industry. And how could I talk about the Corvette without mentioning the ZR1X? Honestly, this needs more publicity. This is by far the greatest creation America has had within the past few years. This thing has been breaking records left and right, and nobody's really batting an eye. I don't think anyone would disagree with how great of a car the ZR1X is, but no one's really giving it as much credit as it deserves. Whereas if this was a German car, nobody would shut up about it. Either way, the ZR1X should be the blueprint for what American halo cars should be. Now with Ford, it did actually revive the Ford GT with both the second gen and third generation of this car, obviously paying homage to the GT40 back when it dethroned Ferrari. But I think Ford should focus on making this just a tad bit less exclusive. Now I'm not saying get rid of the Ford GT. What I'm saying is making more entry-level Ford GT variants that are available to the public so that more people can purchase these cars. You obviously leave the exclusivity for the highest trim model, just like the ZR1X. The Ford GT is by far the car brand's greatest creation, and I'm not trying to downplay what the GT was. But if Ford were to focus on making this halo car more attainable and somewhat matching what Corvette did, I think this would call for an amazing lineup for the American car brands. And finally, I want to talk about Dodge. Out of all three American car brands, none have fallen off harder than Dodge. I don't know how Dodge fumbled so hard with their SRT division. They were making the most iconic supercharged cars with their Hemis. They had the Hellcat, the Demon, and the Trackhawk. But everybody forgets about the Dodge Viper. This thing right here was America's nightmare. The only reason this got discontinued was because of safety regulations. This is by far the scariest thing that could have came out of America. This thing was a rear-wheel drive monster. It had an 8.4 liter V10 with a 6-speed manual transmission. If there's anything that screams freedom, it's this car right here. It's actually quite unfortunate that Dodge has fallen off so hard. But all Dodge has to do is one thing. And that one thing is to revive the Viper to its former glory. All you have to do is copy Chevy's blueprint with the Corvette. If Dodge somehow revived the Viper with a mid-engine all-wheel drive setup, it would completely reverse the damage it did to their brand. And in my eyes, the same thing goes for Ford. And these three halo cars alone could put America back on the map. Let me know if you think America has a chance to make it back to the top within the car industry.